Danse, Oki, Bonjour, hello. My name is Chantal Chagnon. I am Cree, Anishinaabe, and Métis from Muskeg Lake Cree Nation in Saskatchewan, which is in Treaty 6 territory. And I am coming today from Mohkinstsis, which is Calgary in Treaty 7 territory. And I just acknowledge the land that we stand upon here and the land that our ancestors have walked for thousands of years. It's important to do the land acknowledgement because you need to know where you are before you know where you're going. And I'm really, really thankful and humbled to be able to share my teachings and my culture. And another part of the land acknowledgement is acknowledging the responsibility that we have to learn from our past to make our world better for all of our future generations. But it's also about building a relationship with each other and building a relationship to the land itself, because we're part of all of our communities and we're part of the land. And so to welcome everyone into the circle today, I wanted to share with you the Cree welcome song. Traditionally, when we sing songs, we sing in rounds of 4 to honor the 4 directions of the medicine wheel, but this song is a little bit different. We actually sing it in rounds of 3, and that's to keep the circle open and welcoming so everyone completes the circle today. Because in a circle, we're all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end, no one is greater or less than anyone else in the circle, just like in the Hoop of Life. So it teaches us to honor each other for those differences, because if everybody was exactly the same, the world would be incredibly boring and nothing would ever get done. And so we need those differences to make our community resilient and strong. It teaches us to come into the circle with no judgment, not to compare ourselves to others because we're completely different, but to honor each other on this journey and learn from each other. It doesn't mean that we're going to agree 100% of the time, but it's those moments that you can come together and find those compromises. That's truly what makes our community resilient. Miasin, which is the Cree welcome song, is from the Natahau family from Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation, and I'm very thankful for that family for keeping this song alive, because for a lot of years we weren't able to share our songs or our stories or our languages or our ceremonies, but now I'm thankful that we're in a time that we can, that I can wear my regalia, which is a story of who I am. It's not a costume, because costumes are for Halloween, and I was a superhero for Halloween. But it tells the story of my nation. It tells the story of my teachings and of my family. And so I'm thankful and humbled to wear this today. Miasin, which is the Cree welcome song, it also welcomes in all of our ancestors, because we are all connected. It doesn't just mean welcome, it also means beautiful. Miasin, Miasen, Asemina, Asemina, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino, Miasen, Miasen, Asemina, Asemina, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino, Miasen, Miasen, Asemina, Asemina, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, ta homa kita skino. Hi, and welcome to the circle today. Magwitch, everyone.
That was so beautiful. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us. I'm just going to take a minute to introduce Chantal. So thank you for joining us at the 27th Children's Storytelling Festival presented by the Ottawa Storytellers and the Ottawa Public Library. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Chantal Chagnon. Chantal is a Cree Ojibwe Métis singer, drummer, artist, storyteller, actor, educator, workshop facilitator, social justice advocate, and activist with roots in Muskeg Lake Cree Nation, Saskatchewan. She shares traditional Indigenous songs, stories, culture, history, art, crafts, and teachings. She has performed at the National Music Center and graced many other prestigious stages, showcasing Indigenous storytelling, knowledge, tradition, and contemporary music, as well as modern music in collaboration with various bands and artists. Chantal aims to entertain, engage, enlighten, educate, and inspire everyone she meets. And we hope you will all be inspired today, so enjoy the stories.
Hi, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Tanse everyone, I'm very excited to be able to share with you today, and the story I've chosen to share with you today is called The Raven Story. Now, this is a story of the rainbow raven. There are many, many stories of the raven because he takes on many different forms in a lot of different nations. But the whole point of these stories is that the raven learns a lesson. And so this story is a Cherokee as well as a Cree story. And so a long, long time ago, before we were created, we're considered the two-leggeds because we walk around on two legs. But before we were created, all of the animals, they knew who they were going to become, and they were learning about how to live in this new world and the things that they were going to teach us when we came to the new world. And so all of the animals, they acted a little strangely, they acted a little differently, they were learning who they were and what made them special. And some of them looked a little different as well. This included the raven. Now the raven had these glorious, gorgeous rainbow feathers, and no matter which way you looked at him, he shone a different color of rainbow. And because of this, he started to get a little vain. He started to look at himself in reflections all the time. So he would look at himself in a pond and be like, I am gorgeous. He would catch sight of himself in the reflection of a lake and he'd be like, oh, I am so beautiful. And then he would see himself in the ocean. He'd be like, oh, I am stunning. And so because of this, he started to get a little full of himself. And he started to strut around everywhere going, hey, everybody, have you seen me? I am so beautiful and fabulous and gorgeous and marvelous and incredible. I must be the best animal. And all of the animals said, well, no, Raven. Like, we all have different things that we're going to learn and different things that we get to share with the two-leggeds. Nobody's greater or less than anyone else. We all are special in our own way. He says, except for me, because obviously I am the most special because I have the most gorgeous, beautiful, fabulous feathers ever. I must be the best. So if I'm the best, you guys shouldn't even try. And so all of the animals started to think, well, what if Raven was right? What if Raven was the best? What if they weren't special at all? And so they stopped doing what made them amazing. And the whole world started to fall apart. The pollinators stopped pollinating. The cleaners stopped cleaning. The beaver stopped redirecting the river, which made a whole bunch of animals really, really thirsty because there was no still clean water to drink. And all of the trees were starting to die. All of the animals were starting to go hungry. And everybody looked really bored because they weren't doing what made them amazing. And the bear woke up and she looked around and said, whoa, wait a second, what is happening here? Why is the whole world falling apart? And she watched and nobody was doing what made them amazing. And so she went and she asked and she said, Beaver, what is happening here? Nobody's doing what makes them incredible. And the beaver said, well, unfortunately, the raven made everybody feel bad and made everybody feel like they weren't special. So nobody is doing what makes them amazing. And the bear said, that's ridiculous. The raven's not the best. Nobody's the best. We're all special in our own way. And the beaver said, I know that, but for some reason the raven made everybody feel bad. And the bear said, okay, let me go talk to everyone else. But beaver, get back to doing what makes you amazing. And so the beaver started cutting down trees again and redirecting the river. And many, many plants started to bloom again because of that redirection, and many of the smaller animals were able to drink again. So that was a good thing. And so as the bear continued on her path, she saw all of the animals, all of the pollinators, all of the bugs, and even some of the plants that do amazing things, not doing what made them amazing. And so she assured them that they were special and they were incredible in their own way. And they all said to her, well, Bear, thank you for making us feel better, but that raven is making everybody feel awful. You have to go talk to the raven. And so the bear agreed, and she slowly lumbered over to the raven and said, Raven, what is your problem? You're making everybody feel bad. And the raven said, well, it's not my fault that I'm the most amazing, beautiful, fabulous, gorgeous, and glorious animal ever. And the bear said, no, Raven, you're not. I mean, you're special in your own way, but everyone else is special too. And they're like, and the raven said, except they're not as special as me, and no one can ever be as special as me because I am the raven, and I am rainbow, and I'm amazing. And the bear said, well, you are awesome, but you're not the best. And the raven said, well, yes, I am the best. Look at me. And the bear said, no, you're not. And the raven said, yes, I am. And the bear said, no, you're not. And the raven said, yes, I am. And this continued on and on until finally the bear got frustrated and she said, fine, Raven, if you're the best, why don't you go and catch the sun? Because only the best animal could catch the sun. And the raven, he wasn't thinking straight because, of course, no animal could catch the sun, and every animal knew that, said, Of course I could catch the sun. Look at me. I am fabulous and beautiful and gorgeous and amazing, and I'm the best. I can catch the sun because I am the best. And so without thinking, he started to soar higher and higher and higher, and he started getting a little warm up there, but he was determined to catch the sun, so he flew higher and higher and higher, and his feathers started to smoke a little. That's awkward. But he was determined to prove that he was the best, so he flew higher and higher and higher until his feathers burst into flames. He was like, fire! And he started tapping out the fire, and he crashed into the ocean. And as he swam to the shore and he pulled himself out, he looked down at his feathers, and they weren't rainbow anymore. They were completely burned, totally singed. Oh, and that raven was mad. How could the bear play such a mean trick on him? And so the raven started marching angrily over to the bear. Well, he's a bird, so he started hopping angrily over to the bear. And as he was hopping along, he met all of those animals that he had made feel bad. And he watched as they did what made them amazing. He watched as the pollinators went from plant to plant to plant and made them grow. And he thought, that's amazing. He was inspired by the beauty of the butterfly's wings. He was inspired by all of the sounds of the birds. He had never had his voice yet, so he thought that was amazing. Then he heard a loud crash, and he looked behind him, and he saw the beaver had tumbled over this beautiful tall tree and was dragging it to redirect the river. And he watched as all of those plants that only grow along the river when it's nice and calm started to grow, and those animals who drink the water of that still river got to drink. And he thought, that is so kind. Wow, Beaver, you're amazing. He heard a loud buzzing behind him, and he looked up in the tree, and there was a beautiful beehive with honey dripping out of it. He thought, oh, that's delicious, that's amazing. And he continued on his path and continued to see all of the beauty and all of the amazing things that all of these animals could do. And then he started to feel bad for making them feel bad. How could he have ever made anyone feel like they weren't special? And so he went and he apologized to all of the animals as he walked, to all of the plants and to all of the bugs. And by the time he got back to the bear, he finished apologizing to everyone. He didn't feel angry anymore. He felt sad. And he said, Bear, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I made everybody feel bad. I'm sorry I thought that I was better than everybody else. Everybody's amazing in their own way, but Bear, look at me. I'm not special anymore. I'm not fabulous or gorgeous or amazing or wonderful. Bear, I'm not the best at all. And the bear said, but Raven, you learned something very special. And the raven said, I did? And the bear said, yes, you learned about humility. The raven said, that's a weird word. What does that mean? And the bear said, it means not to take yourself too seriously, not to think that you're better than anyone else, but also to see how amazing everyone else is around you. Not to compare ourselves to others, but just admire how amazing they are in their own way. And Raven, that's a really important lesson to learn, and it's a really important lesson to teach to the two-leggeds when they come. And the Raven thought about it for a minute. Humility. Humility. Well, Bear, can I teach people humility by playing tricks on them? And the bear said, well, of course. And the Raven thought about the trick that the bear played on him, and he started to laugh. And for the first time, the Raven got his voice. And so to this day, we can always hear his laughter. And so he said, you know what, Bear? You're right. I am going to continue to play tricks on everybody to teach them about humility and to not take themselves too seriously. But still to this day, to remind the Raven not to take himself too seriously, there's still a little shimmer of rainbow in his feather to remind him to stay humble. And that is the Raven story. And the Raven story has a beautiful song to go with it. So this song, the Raven song, is, I call it a Cherokee song, because it is Cherokee as well as Cree. And thank you very much. And this song, it has a little bit of audience participation. So if you would like to sing along with me, and if you would like to help me by letting out your happy sounds, the story of this song, which is what we just heard, we're going to hear the Raven. And so the Raven will be singing, and then he's going to let out Yahweh, way-oh, and we're going to let out our happy sound. So I want you to think of something that makes you awesome, something that makes you really happy, something that makes you uniquely you. And I want you to take a deep breath into your belly button, and you're going to let out our happy sound. So it might be a woo, or a ow, or a yippee, or a yay, whatever your happy sound is, you're going to let out your happy sound. So we'll sing Yahweh, way-oh, and then happy sound. Want to try that? If you guys want to unmute so I don't look weird, we'll sing Yahweh, way-oh. Yeah, there we go. Yahweh, way-oh. Yeah, fantastic. I like yours. That's awesome. And then the next part is just very simple. It's a call and response. Willow-a-hey-ya.
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 Oh-a-hey-ya.
Oh-a-hey-ya.
Awesome. And the next part, this is the part that the Raven sings. If you catch on, you can totally sing with the Raven. It's ya, willow-a, willow-a-hey-ya. Oh-a-hey-ya. Ya, willow-a, willow-a-hey-ya. Oh-a-hey-ya. Ya, willow-a, willow-a-hey-ya. Oh-a-hey-ya. Ya, willow-a, willow-a-hey-ya. Oh-a-hey-ya. Happy sounds. Yahweh, way-oh. Yeah. Yahweh, way-oh. Yeah. Call and response. Willow-a-hey-ya.
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 Oh-a-hey-ya.
Oh-a-hey-ya.
Then all together. Ya, willow-a, willow-a-hey-ya. Oh-a-hey-ya. Ya, willow-a, willow-a-hey-ya. Oh-a-hey-ya. So we're going to sing that song through 4 times to honor the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. That's pretty special. We've got the 4 seasons, we've got the 4 times of our lives, the 4 times of our... 4 is a pretty important number. We've even got the 4 elements. But at the end of the 3rd round, we're going to hear that raven falling out of the sky. And then we're going to get a little bit higher with that last verse because he's learned his lesson. And here we go. You can clap along as well if you'd like. Hi everyone, I'm Gwitch, and thank you so much for letting me share with you.